Hey, hello everyone. I'm Varsha, and this is the third lecture of your chapter Accounting for Amalgamation of the Companies. In the last video, we have discussed the methods of amalgamation, and in the very first video, we have discussed the differences between meaning and differences between amalgamation, absorption, and external reconstruction. So, both of that video is must to watch this third video to understand this third video. So please go through that first. And we have already discussed what is purchase consideration, and now we will do the methods of purchase consideration and the practical questions there. Okay, so let's start. So as we have discussed, what is purchase consideration? What was it? It is like something, the transferee company gives something in return of the assets and liabilities to the transferor company. Yes, the purchasing company which take over all the assets and the liabilities of the transferee company, the vendor company, and they are giving something in return to it. So what they can give in return to it? The equity shares, the preference shares, the cash to equity shareholders, and cash to preference shareholders. They can give it as a purchase consideration. So how do we calculate the purchase consideration? There are four methods. So we'll discuss about the theory and the meaning first of all these four methods, and then we'll do the practical questions based on it. Okay, so let's start. The first method is lump sum payment method. See, lump sum payment method is the most easiest method, and nothing you have to calculate under it, as since total payment which the purchase consideration the purchasing company is giving to the selling company will already be given in the question. So you don't need to do any further calculation. That total payment, the purchase consideration, will itself be given in the question. Okay, so that will be a lump sum payment method. It means that if a purchasing company is giving a total lump sum amount to the vendor company, that means the selling company, that it may be possible, like if you take an example, that there are two companies, X and Y. X is the purchasing company and Y is the selling company. Okay, so Y transfer all its assets, all its liability or something out of it to X company, and X in return, by not calculating the value of separate assets and liabilities and something else, it just to tell to Y company that take this much of consideration, the total payment, and your Y company will be mine from now. Okay, so that will be a lump sum payment method. That means the total payment will be given in the question, the purchase consideration, and you don't need to do any calculation under it. And the next method is net payment method. Out of these four methods, you must have noticed in your last year papers that out of these four methods, the second method and the third method is very much important. So you have to understand it very carefully. The second method is net payment method. Third method is net assets method. Both of these method is very much important. So mark it. You have to do it very carefully. Okay, so please understand. Second method is your net payment method. See, net payment method, under it, the purchase consideration, there is a formula to calculate your purchase consideration, and it is, see, purchase consideration is equals to amount of preference shares plus cash for preference shareholders plus amount of equity shares plus cash for equity shares. So it is a formula to calculate your net purchase consideration under the net payment method. Just what you have to do, you have to calculate. You might have you will notice in your questions, when you will do the questions, that some additional information will be given in the question, like some amount of preference shares is given by the purchasing company to the vendor company, some cash will be given, some amount of equity shares will be given, and cash for equity shares will be given, and along with it some debentures will be given. That debentures will be given by the transferee company to the transfer company this much, by something else can be given. So you mark it that you don't have to include any debenture amount, any assets and liabilities amount in your purchase consideration even if it is given. You just have to calculate your purchase consideration with amount of preference shares plus cash for preference shareholders plus amount of equity shares plus cash for equity shares. Okay, what it means that if we are check that what is the net worth of our company, so how do we calculate? Generally it is calculated by the equity shares worth. ठीक है. So purchase consideration here also we have to judge like amount of preference shares, that what equity shares from the transferee company will be given to the transfer company, what shares the purchasing company will give from its company to the selling company, that we have to take, plus the cash consideration which they are giving. If it is a method of nature of purchase method, then they might give the cash to the preference shareholders, yes, so we have to include that. And amount of equity shares, obviously that must have to include in your purchase consideration. So amount of equity shares, amount of preference shares plus cash given to both of them, equity shares and the preference shareholders, and nothing along with it. Like it might be given that purchasing company discharge your liability, discharge the transfer company's liability by this amount. So you don't have to take that in your purchase consideration. You just have to take that preference shares, cash, amount of equity shares and cash will be given to both of them. Okay, so let's read the note given under it. First is, any payment made by the transferee company in form of debentures and other liabilities will not consider. Okay, that we have already discussed. Second is, the assets and liabilities taken over by the transferee company and the values at which they are taken over are not relevant to compute the purchase consideration. Those assets and liabilities which the transferee company taking over, okay, which they are taking over, and the values at which they are taking over are not relevant. They are not relevant to compute the purchase consideration. Like if in the question it is given that a particular asset like furniture or a land or building is agreed to taking over at this amount, it may be the bigger amount or the smaller amount than the fair value, the book value, you can say. So you don't have to consider it if you are calculating your purchase consideration by the net payment method. That will be considered in the next method. We will discuss the net assets method, that particular assets and liabilities, agreed amount, something else, that you have to consider in your calculation in the net assets method and not in the net payment method. Okay. Next is, if any liability is taken over by the purchasing company to be discharged later on, such amount should not be deducted or added while computing purchase consideration. Clear? I've already told you that if any liability the purchasing company is discharging, the taking over liabilities if the company purchasing company is discharging later on, that you don't have to deduct the amount, you don't have to add the amount, nothing else you have to do while calculating your purchase consideration. That means purchase consideration amount will be calculated by just this formula and nothing else you have to do in this question. Clear? Next method is your net asset method. The third method is net asset method. This is much important, so please do it very carefully. Okay, and this is a very you can say easiest method, but involve a lot of calculation. Okay, so net asset method is, under this method purchase consideration is arrived at by adding the agreed or market value of the assets taken over by the purchasing company and deducting therefrom the agreed market values of the liabilities taken over by the purchasing company. So See, here you have to calculate your purchase consideration by add all the assets taken over by the purchasing company, and what value you have to what value you have to add it on at the agreed value. Okay, if the agreed value is given in the question in the additional information, you have to take that agreed value. It might be lower or higher than the book value given in the balance sheet. But if any asset amount is not given, the agreed values is not given in the additional information, then you have to take it in from the balance sheet. The book value you have to take while calculating your purchase consideration. So just add all the agreed value of all the assets and deduct therefrom the agreed market value of the liabilities taken over by the purchasing company. Clear? Just what you have to do, like in the balance sheet you have given land, building, furniture, machinery, cash and bank balances, and debtors something. These assets you have given in the balance sheet, and from these assets just the agreed value agreed value is given for machinery and for land. Okay, so you have to take the agreed value of land and machine and take the book value from the balance sheet for the rest of the assets and deduct therefrom the agreed value. Similarly, the agreed values might be given for the liabilities as well, so deduct all the agreed values and all the liabilities taking over by the purchasing company. Clear? If nothing is specifically given that this asset is just taking over or this liability is taking over, you have to take all the assets and all the liabilities. But please mark it doesn't mean that all the assets and all the liabilities is taking over. That it means that it is in the nature of merger. That can be a nature of purchase as well, as we have already discussed all the 5 conditions in the last video, that all the 5 conditions must have be satisfied if it is in nature of merger. Okay, so it doesn't mean that it will be a nature of merger if all the assets and all the liabilities will be taking over by the purchasing company. But all the 5 conditions must have been fulfilled to become it nature of merger. Clear? So purchase consideration is arrived at by adding the agreed or the market value of the assets taken over by the purchasing company and deducting therefrom the agreed market value of the liabilities taken over by the purchasing company. Clear? Let's discuss some note under it. So first is, if the transferee company agrees to take over all the assets of the transferor company. If the transferee company agrees to take over all the assets of the transferor company, it would mean inclusive of cash and bank balance. Yes, obviously you have to include your cash and bank balance as it is given in the balance sheet. Note one main point you have to mark under it. You cannot say that cash will be agreed to take over at this value. Since it is a cash, you cannot increase or decrease the value of it. Like if I have the cash of 5,000, you cannot say that I will take your cash of 5,000 at 4,000 value. You cannot do it. Okay, so the cash and bank balance as it is given, you have to take it that only. Clear? Next point is, the term all assets, however, does not include fictitious assets like debit balance of profit and loss account, preliminary expenses account, discount and other expenses on issue of shares and debentures, advertising expenses account, etc. See, the term all assets means include all the assets, which is current assets, fixed assets. So it does not include fictitious assets like debit balance of profit and loss account, preliminary expenses account, discount and other expenses on issue of shares, debentures, advertising expenses account, etc. So you have to mark it that all the assets means current and fixed assets, and it does not include fictitious assets. So you don't have to include all the fictitious assets into while calculating your purchase consideration. Clear? And you must have to remember what fictitious assets will be. The debit balance of profit and loss account, since the debit balance of profit and loss account is what? It is a loss for the company. The credit balance of profit and loss account shows the profit for the company. The debit balance of profit and loss account shows the losses for the company. Similarly, preliminary expenses account, miscellaneous expenditure account, discount and other expenses on issue of shares, debentures, advertising expenses account, all these balances shows the all these accounts shows the losses for the company. So you don't have to include that in while calculating your purchase consideration. And these kind of fictitious assets the purchasing company will never take over. Clear? Next, third point is, any specific asset not taken over by the transferee company should be ignored while computing the purchase price. Obviously, if a transferee company is not taking over any specific asset, it will be given in the question. If it will be a case something like that, so it will be given in the question that any specific asset is not taking over by the transferee company. You have to ignore while computing your purchase price. Clear? Next, fourth point is, if there is any goodwill, prepaid expenses, etc., the same are to be included in the assets taken over unless otherwise stated. If it is given, if there is any goodwill, prepaid expenses, etc., is given in the question in the balance sheet, you have to include in the assets taken over. Otherwise, it is stated, unless and otherwise it is stated in the question. The fifth point is, the term liabilities will always signify all the liabilities to the third parties. The term liabilities will always signify all the liabilities to the third party. If it is given that the liabilities is given in the question in the balance sheet, that means it is a liability to the third party. Okay, so trade liabilities are those incurred for the purchase of goods such as trade creditors or bill payables. Yes, of course, the trade liabilities, if it is given the word trade liabilities in the balance sheet, that means it is trade creditors or bill payable which arises by the purchasing of goods or something. Okay, next, sixth point is, other liabilities like bank overdraft, tax payable, outstanding expenses, etc., are not part of trade liabilities. Trade liabilities is what? Trade liabilities is a trade creditors or bills payable, while the other liabilities include bank overdraft, tax payable, and outstanding expenses, and they are not a part of trade liabilities. Clear? Next is, next point is, liabilities do not include accumulated or undistributed profits like general reserve, securities premium reserve, workmen accident fund, insurance fund, capital reserve, dividend equalization fund, etc. So obviously these reserves, these funds which we create in the balance sheet in the company, they are not their liabilities. Even they are undistributed profits, accumulated profits, which you have to transfer in equity shareholders account while calculating your net worth of the equity shareholders. See, when you will close the books of the vendor company, the selling company, then first you have to make your realization account, in which all the assets and all the liabilities which will be taken over by the purchasing company, you have to transfer that all. Clear? Next, you have to make equity shareholders account, in which the shareholders balance, share capital account, you have to transfer all the reserves, securities premium, etc., which the purchasing company will not be taken over. Obviously they are relating to whom? They are relating to equity shareholders, so you have to transfer in their balance account. Then you have to make preference shareholders account, debentures account, cash and bank book ledger. So you have to make a number of ledgers while you will close the selling company's books. Clear? Then you will make your journal entries, and you have to calculate the net assets as well. Obviously, that you have to calculate the purchase consideration by the net asset method or something, the method you will adopt according to the information given in the question. Clear? So that was the net asset method. That is so much easy, and we'll do the one practical question in this in the next video relating to all these methods. Clear? Next, fourth method is exchange method or swap method or intrinsic worth method. So three names can be given to this method: exchange method, swap method, or intrinsic worth method. So what you have to do under this method, net value of assets is calculated according to the net assets method. First you have to calculate your net asset method under this method, and that net assets you have to divide by the value of one share of the transferee company, which gives the total number of shares to be received by the shareholders of the transfer company from the transferee company. Clear? Okay, let's do it with the help of example. See here, you might have calculated your assets available for the equity shareholders. Not by this. Let's start with an example, which is this example. See, X company limited and Y company limited, they are two companies. X limited is a purchasing company, Y company is a vendor company, and net assets is given in these. Net assets means all the assets minus all the liabilities. So net assets, it is given. Number of equity shares 2 lakh and 1,50,000, it is also given. You have given this information, till this information, and you have to calculate your intrinsic value per share. So intrinsic value per share, what will be the formula for calculating this? You just have to divide your net assets with the number of equity shares. Clear? So 1,10,000 divided by 2 lakh, so that will be given intrinsic value per share 55. So what does it mean, intrinsic value per share? It means the actual value, the intrinsic market value, you can say, the worth of a value in your company per share. You are calculating it for one share. So on a one share, the market value of your company is, your net assets will be 55. If you are calculating, if you are dividing your net assets worth with the number of equity shares in your company, the total number of equity shares in the X limited is 2 lakh, and the total number of equity shares in the Y company is 1,50,000. You are just dividing it here to calculate intrinsic value per share. So 11 lakh will be divided by 2 lakh, and 1 crore 65 lakhs will be divided by 1,50,000, and that will be given, and the intrinsic value per share will be 110. Okay, so we have to calculate to share exchange ratio, like in our personal life you also do this kind of things. Like if I have 55 rupees and you have 110 rupees, so how many times you have the money than I have? Clear? So Y company have 110 rupees, suppose like this, and X company have 55 worth of rupee. So how many times Y company have then the X company limited, the money value it have? Obviously 2 times. 55 if you will divide 110 by 55, then it will be calculated sorry, share exchange ratio will be calculated as 1 and 2. So I think it will be clear in your mind that Y company limited will get 2 shares out for 1 share in the X company limited. Okay, if both the companies are going in amalgamation, that means the vendor company, the Y company, gives all its asset to the X company, then X company will give shares to Y company in return. So they are calculating the worth per share for their company. So Y company has 1,50,000 shares, X company has 2 lakh shares, and they calculated the intrinsic value per share as 55 and 110. ठीक है. So Y company saying that I have 110 worth of per share. So and you have 55 worth per share, so give me 2 shares out of my 1 share. So if if the Y company has 1,50,000, then X company will give its 3 lakh shares to the Y company in satisfaction of the full consideration. Clear? So let's go to the theory part again. It is saying under this method, net value of assets is calculated according to net asset method, and it is divided by the value of 1 share of the transferee company, which gives the total number of shares to be received by the shareholders of the transfer company from the transferee company. So now you will understand. The transferee company will give the total number of shares, how many shares it will be given to transfer company, that you can calculate according to that formula. You have to just divide your net assets with the total number of shares, and you will get your intrinsic worth of 1 share, and then you can calculate how many shares the transferee company will give to transfer company. Yeah, when the number of shares to be received by the transfer company is known, then it is divided by the existing shares of the transfer company, and thus the ratio of shares can be found out. Purchase consideration is to be calculated on the basis of ratio in which shares of the transferee company are to be exchanged for the shares of the transfer company. So here purchase consideration is calculated on the basis of ratio. Yes, we have calculated the ratio, no, that 55 and 110. So 110 divided by 55 is 2:1. So that will be calculated on the basis of ratio, and the shares exchange value you can find out as a purchase consideration. Clear? So intrinsic value here, what will be? Assets available for the equity shareholders, that means the net assets divided by the number of equity shares of each company. Then you will calculate your intrinsic worth for 1 share, and then the ratio, how many shares the transferee company will give to transfer company. Clear? So that was all the methods of calculating purchase consideration, and in the next video we will do the practical questions. See, these practical kind of questions we will see in the next video. We will do in the next video the calculate the purchase consideration by the net assets method or something. So see the net assets method. Okay, so understand all these methods, and please watch the next 4th video as well. Okay, bye.